Hey everyone, ready to tackle the LOTE 613 and become certified Spanish teachers.
Yeah.
I know this exam can feel a little intimidating, but that's exactly why we're here today. We're doing a deep dive into, you guessed it, a YouTube video that's packed with advice on how to conquer this thing. And you know what? It's not just about passing some test.
Right.
This is about like setting you up to be an amazing Spanish teacher, ready to unlock the secrets. I know I am.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, having a solid approach to the LOTE 613, I mean, it's crucial.
Yeah, for sure.
It's your ticket to not just passing, right, but to feeling confident, prepared as you step into your own classroom.
Okay, so this YouTube video that we're kind of dissecting here, it doesn't really mess around.
Right,
it gets right into the details, which is exactly what we love.
Yes.
So let's just start by like mapping out the terrain of this whole LOTE 613 thing. What are we dealing with here?
Well, think of it as like a two-part adventure. Okay. First, you've got the multiple choice questions. You got to show off what, Spanish language and pedagogy.
Yeah.
Then it's the constructed response section.
Yeah.
You're going to apply that knowledge to real-world teaching, scenario.
Okay, so it's not just about like knowing the facts.
Right.
It's about showing you can actually use them.
Exactly.
Well, makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm guessing some areas of the exam are like more important than others, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like where should our listeners really, really focus all their energy?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the video really hits on this too. Instruction and assessment.
Oh, okay.
That's where the real weight is. That makes up over a third of the exam, a whopping 34.6%.
Whoa, hold on. That's a serious chunk. I can already like feel our listeners' brains just switching into high gear right now. No pressure. Right. But seriously, like why is that section so heavily weighted?
It makes sense when you think about it.
Okay.
A huge part of being effective as a teacher, is knowing how to plan really engaging lessons and how to really accurately assess your students' progress. That's what this section's all about.
Okay, that makes total sense. But let's be honest here.
Sure.
The phrase pedagogical theories doesn't always like make people jump for joy.
I get it.
It can feel a bit like going back to like those really dense textbooks.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But trust me, these theories, they're not just these like abstract concepts, right? They're powerful tools. They're for your teaching toolkit.
Okay.
They help you understand how students learn, and they give you practical strategies to use in the classroom.
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity now. Which theories are we talking about here?
One of the big ones is Krashen's monitor model. Remember, like, that nerve-wracking feeling you had when you were first learning Spanish? Like, that's what Krashen calls the affective filter, right?
Yeah.
So if students are stressed or if they're anxious, it's harder for them to learn.
Totally. Like that time I tried to order tapas in Barcelona, and I just completely blanked on how to say squid. And I just mumbled something and pointed. My face was bright red.
Exactly. Your affective filter was probably sky high at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
But the good news is, as a teacher, you can help lower your students' affective filter.
Oh, okay.
By creating a supportive and an encouraging environment.
Makes sense. So it's not just about like teaching the language.
Right.
It's about creating like a safe space for them to actually learn and make mistakes.
Exactly.
What other theories should our listeners like have on their radar?
Well, there's Vygotsky's social interaction theory, which highlights the power of collaboration. Think about like building a tower with blocks, You start with a strong base, then you gradually add more blocks.
Yeah.
You provide support, right, until that structure can stand on its own. That's what scaffolding is all about.
Scaffolding. Yeah, I remember that from my my teaching courses. It's about breaking down those complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps.
Yes.
And providing that support until they can, fly solo.
Exactly. And then we have behaviorism, which focuses on reinforcement and repetition.
Okay.
Think flashcards, drills, those classic techniques.
So it's kind of like the practice makes perfect approach.
Right.
Now, while drills have their place, I'm guessing a lot of our listeners are thinking, how do I make sure that my Spanish classes don't just feel like endless verb conjugation exercises? You know what I mean?
That's the beauty of understanding all these different theories.
Okay.
It's not about picking one and sticking to it rigidly. It's about finding the balance.
Okay.
And adapting your approach based on the students you have and the material.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about, being flexible, drawing from these different approaches to create the best learning experience for your students.
Absolutely. Now, we've laid the groundwork here with these pedagogical theories.
Oh, yeah?
Are you ready to move on to the next stage?
Oh, absolutely.
In our LOTE 613 quest.
What's next on the agenda?
Let's talk lesson planning, shall we?
Oh, yes.
Because knowing how to create like a killer lesson plan is crucial for this exam.
Okay.
And for your future teaching career.
All right, future Spanish teachers out there, grab your notebooks. We're about to unlock the secrets of crafting a LOTE 613-worthy lesson plan. I'm excited.
And remember, this is about way more than just passing a test.
Yeah.
This is about learning how to create engaging, effective lessons that will make you like a rock star Spanish teacher.
I love that. Okay, so where do we begin? Where do we begin with all this?
Well, first things first. You need to make sure that your lesson plan is aligned with the TEKS.
Okay, the TEKS.
Yes.
Right.
Those TEKS essential knowledge and skills.
Gotcha.
They outline what students should be learning at each grade level.
Right. The TEKS, that's like the blueprint for your Spanish curriculum.
Yes.
You can't just teach whatever random Spanish phrases pop into your head. It has to fit into that bigger picture.
Exactly. And this is where those pedagogical theories we discussed, they really come into play.
Okay.
Think about how you can incorporate Krashen's idea of comprehensible input by making sure your lessons are accessible and engaging for all your students.
So instead of overwhelming beginners with complex grammar rules on day one, maybe you start with a fun activity where they just learn basic greetings and phrases.
Exactly. You want to make sure your students feel successful, motivated, not overwhelmed and discouraged.
Right.
And don't forget about Vygotsky's emphasis on scaffolding.
Right, scaffolding. Break those complex tasks down into smaller steps.
Yes.
Provide that support and watch your students just soar.
Now, speaking of soaring, let's talk about assessment.
Okay.
How will you know
Yeah.
if your students are actually learning what you're teaching?
Assessment. That's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yes.
What are some effective ways to really assess language learning?
Well, there's really no one-size-fits-all approach here.
Right.
You might use traditional methods like quizzes and tests.
Yeah.
Or you can get creative.
Right.
Projects, presentations, even student portfolios.
Oh, I like that.
The key is to choose methods that align with your teaching style and the student's needs.
That makes a lot of sense. And I bet this is also a place where you can get really, really creative and think outside the box.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't forget about those cultural connections.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just teaching the language in isolation, bring in authentic materials like music.
Oh, yeah.
Art.
Food. Yeah.
Anything that can help students connect with the culture
Yeah.
behind the language.
Right. It's about creating a holistic learning experience where students aren't just learning vocabulary and grammar rules, but they're also exploring culture, traditions, perspectives, all of that.
And don't underestimate the power of storytelling.
Ooh.
Share your own experiences with the Spanish language and the culture.
Right.
You can even invite guest speakers to share their stories, right?
Yeah.
It's all about making that language come alive.
I love that. It's about creating that immersive experience where students can see, hear, feel the language.
Exactly. Now, while we're on a roll, are you ready to dive into the next crucial element?
Bring it on.
Of the LOTE 613?
What's next on our deep dive agenda?
Let's talk about those constructed responses.
Okay.
The part of the exam where you really get to flex your writing and communication skills, both in Spanish and in English.
Ah, yes, the constructed responses. I bet these can feel a bit daunting to some folks. What exactly are we talking about here?
Imagine you're given a scenario.
Okay.
Needing to write a lesson plan from scratch.
Okay.
Or draft an email to a parent about their child's progress.
Okay.
You need to demonstrate you can apply what you've learned.
Right.
In a really clear, structured way.
So it's like a mini essay almost, where you're not just choosing the right answer, but really demonstrating your understanding and your ability to communicate effectively.
Exactly. And that means being able to organize your thoughts logically, to use specific examples, and to make sure your writing is clear and error-free, both in Spanish and in English.
Okay, so grammar nerds, this is your time to shine.
Yes.
But seriously, it sounds like these responses are a chance to really show off your teaching chops.
Absolutely. They want to see that you can think critically, solve problems, and communicate effectively. All essential skills for a great teacher.
Now, speaking of essential skills, we can't forget about the language itself. Right. Of course not.
You can't be a Spanish teacher if you can't actually speak Spanish.
You're absolutely right. The LOTE 613 also includes sections that assess your oral and written fluency, both in Spanish and in English.
Okay, deep breaths, everyone. I know a lot of people get nervous about this part. Any tips for, like, boosting those fluency skills and calming those, like, pre-test jitters?
Absolutely. The video suggests, immersing yourself in the language as much as possible. Listen to Spanish podcasts, watch movies with subtitles, even just try reading a news article or two in Spanish.
So it's about making Spanish a part of your daily life.
Yes.
Not just something you study for a test.
Exactly.
That makes it a lot more fun, too.
And don't underestimate the power of practice.
Yeah.
Find a language partner, record yourself speaking, even just talk to yourself in the mirror.
Right.
Every little bit helps. Okay, I'm picturing our listeners like chatting with their pets in Spanish right now.
Great.
But hey, it's all about getting comfortable with the language. And let's be honest, we've all had those like awkward moments when trying to speak a foreign language.
Oh, absolutely. I once tried to order una cerveza in Mexico, and I accidentally asked for una cabeza, a head.
Oh, no.
I know.
I bet the bartender got a good laugh out of that one.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, it's all part of the learning process, right?
Exactly. Embrace those mistakes, laugh them off, and keep practicing.
Speaking of practice, the video that we're diving into talks a lot about practice.
Right.
What kind of practice tips does it offer for tackling the LOTE 613?
Well, the tried and true method of using the official study guide is always a good idea. Familiarize yourself with the types of questions you'll encounter and take those practice tests. Get comfortable with the format.
Right. That's classic exam prep 101. But is there anything beyond that, like usual study the guide and take practice tests routine that our listeners should, like, really know?
Absolutely. Remember all those pedagogical theories that we discussed?
Yeah.
Don't just memorize them.
Okay.
Try applying them. Like, imagine you're teaching a lesson on Spanish verb tenses.
Okay, yeah.
How would you use scaffolding to break down those concepts and support your students?
Ooh, that's good. It's like taking those theories out of the textbook and putting them into action.
Exactly. And here's another tip.
Okay.
Think back to your own experiences learning Spanish. What worked for you? What didn't work?
Yeah.
Use those insights to inform your study approach.
That's such a great point. It's about, like, personalizing your study plan.
Yes.
Based on what you know about yourself as a learner.
Exactly. And remember, this whole process is about way more than just passing an exam.
Yeah.
It's about laying the foundation for becoming the best Spanish teacher that you can be.
I love that. So how can our listeners use this preparation process to not only ace the LO 613, but also set themselves up for success in the classroom?
Well, I think it starts with mindset.
Okay.
Don't approach this exam with a sense of dread or anxiety.
Yeah.
See it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to deepen your understanding of the Spanish language and pedagogy.
So it's about turning that, like, test anxiety into like excitement and curiosity.
Exactly. And as you're studying, don't just focus on memorizing facts and figures.
Right.
Think about how you can apply what you're learning to real-world teaching scenarios.
That's where those pedagogical theories really come in handy.
Exactly.
Think about how you would incorporate Krashen's monitor model, Vygotsky's scaffolding, even like a touch of behaviorism into your future lessons.
Right. And as you're practicing your Spanish, imagine yourself interacting with your future students.
Oh, okay.
How would you explain a tricky grammar concept?
Yeah.
How'd you encourage them to practice their speaking skills?
It's like doing a mental rehearsal for your future teaching career.
Exactly. And here's another key piece of advice.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get creative.
Yeah?
There's no one right way to teach Spanish.
Oh, I love this. So it's about finding your own unique teaching style.
Yes.
The approach that feels authentic to you and resonates with your students.
Do you love using technology? Incorporate interactive games and apps into your lessons. Are you passionate about music? Use Spanish songs to teach vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
This is so exciting. It's like we're giving our listeners permission to break free from those like rigid teaching molds and create something truly special in their classrooms.
Exactly. Now, while we're on the topic of creating something special, are you ready to move on to the next phase of our LOTE 613 journey?
Absolutely. What's next on our deep dive agenda?
Let's talk about what makes a lesson plan, truly sing. Those finishing touches.
Yeah.
The ones that can transform a good lesson into a great one.
Okay. I'm all ears. So we've covered the basics, aligning with the TEKS, incorporating those pedagogical theories, thinking about assessment. What else can our listeners do to like take their lesson plans to the next level?
Well, think about those moments in your own life when learning really clicked.
Okay, yeah.
It probably wasn't just from reading a textbook, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was through like a hands-on activity or a captivating story or a personal connection that made the material come alive.
Oh, totally. I remember when I was learning Spanish, it was those moments outside the classroom, like watching a Spanish film, trying to chat with locals, stumbling through a recipe in Spanish. Those are the things that really solidified my understanding.
Exactly. So how can you bring those same kinds of experiences into your own classroom?
Yeah.
Think about incorporating authentic materials like Spanish music, podcasts, even children's books.
Ooh, that's a great idea. It's like creating a little window into the Spanish-speaking world right there in the classroom.
Exactly.
And I bet those kinds of materials can really like pique students' curiosity and make them eager to learn more.
And don't be afraid to like get creative with your activities. Instead of just doing worksheets, how about having students create a Spanish language cooking show?
Oh, fun.
Design a travel brochure for a Spanish-speaking country.
Right.
Or even write and perform a short skit.
I love those ideas. It's about making learning fun and engaging, not just another item on a to-do list.
Exactly. And remember, every classroom is different.
Right.
What works for one group of students may not work for another. That's where that teacher intuition comes in.
Right. It's about being flexible, adaptable, and responsive to your students' needs and interests.
Now, speaking of being responsive, one of the most powerful things you can do as a teacher is to reflect on your lessons.
Okay.
Think about what went well, what could have been improved, and how you might adjust your approach the next time.
So it's about being your own, like, critic, but in a constructive way.
Exactly.
It's about always striving to, like, improve and grow as a teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes teaching such a dynamic and rewarding profession. It's a journey of lifelong learning for you and for your students.
You know, as we're like wrapping up this deep dive, I'm struck by how much this whole process of preparing for the LOTE 613 kind of mirrors the journey of becoming a great teacher.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's about more than just memorizing facts and figures.
Right.
It's about developing a deep understanding of the material, being creative and adaptable, reflecting on your practice, and always striving to improve.
It's about embracing the challenge, the excitement, the constant learning, and the growth that comes with being a teacher.
And you know what? I have a feeling that our listeners out there, they're ready to embrace all of that and more.
Yeah.
They're ready to step into those classrooms armed with the knowledge, the passion, and a whole lot of heart.
I couldn't agree more. So to all our future Spanish teachers out there, we say, felicidades.
Felicidades.
Congratulations on taking this incredible step, and we can't wait to see all the amazing things you accomplish.
Hasta la próxima, amigos. We'll catch you on our next deep dive.